Welcome to this video about my top 5 display commands on Huawei devices. I'm here connected to a physical switch. Let's first check what kind of switch we have. We have a very small one, 8-port switch with 4 fiber uplink ports with a Yunshan OS system. So let's check that. We see that there are the 4 10G interfaces and the 8 copper 1 gig interfaces, and we will do now some configuration on one of the fiber connections. Let's take the first one. Let's configure it as a trunk port and allow pass all VLANs. That is it. So now I would like to check this configuration. I have different options to do that. So first of all, maybe the easiest way is to make a display current configuration. The disadvantage of this is, as you can see, I need to scroll down all the way to the interface configuration of that interface. It takes some time. In this case, I'm connected with over the console connection, so it takes a long time. Or I can use the display current configuration interface 10GE 101. This also takes some seconds because it's a long command. I need to type in the interface. So what other options we have? So this is my first command of the top 5. It's just called display this. This shows me the configuration of the view I'm in. So in this case, I'm in the interface view of this 10G interface, and it can easily show me the configuration on that port. I can even use display this interface, which shows me the status of the interface. This could be very helpful in case I'm just made an undo shutdown and I would like to check if the state is up or still down. So I don't need to use any other command for this. I can use this display this command even in other sections. So if I go out of this interface and I go in, for example, to the AAA config, I can use the display this command also here. It shows me just the AAA configuration. Or, for example, if I go into the OSPF process, I can use here this display this command as well. So this is one of the commands I use almost every time. It's very helpful. It helps me to speed up my configuration. So let's go to my second command on the top 5. So the second display command I really like on Huawei switches is the command display port VLAN. So with that command, I easily have an overview over the configuration of the different switch ports. So we see the 10G interface 1. We just made the configuration before. I can see that it's a trunk configured as a trunk port, native VLAN of 1, and it's a trunk port with all the VLANs allowed. So the second port, for example, it's also configured as a trunk port with the native VLAN of 20 and just VLAN 10 allowed on the link. So this command gives me a perfect overview over the configured switch ports and is also one of my favorite display commands. Now let's move to the third display command of my top 5. Display command number 3 is useful when using transceivers. So in our case here, we have a switch with 4 10 gig fiber connections. And now I would like to see the transceiver details of port number 1. This can be done with display interface 10G01 transceiver verbose. This shows me a lot of information and details about the transceiver I'm using. In this case, it's a 10G short-range transceiver with LC connector, and it's a Cisco product which is quite old, so it's from 2013, but still working. I also see some information about the temperature, the voltage, and for me the most important information is the RX power, which is the receive power. It's a -2.49, and the thresholds should be are set between 1 and -20, so we are in these thresholds. And the second information is the transmit power, which is currently the -2.57, and we should be within the threshold of +2 and -79. So we are also within that range. That's perfectly fine. So as I'm using now here in this case a Cisco transceiver, which is working, you may be already seen the annoying informations about the non-certified transceivers, which is coming every day. There is a command which can be used to deactivate such informations. It's called transceiver non-certified alarm disable. So when you put in that command, you will not get any longer this information about non-certified transceivers. That's my number 3. So let's move forward to number 4 of my top 5 display commands. Let's move to the next display command, which I'm using every time when I'm connected to a Huawei device. It's called display current configuration. So it's a very long command, and I can use it, for example, for the OSPF section. This command shows me just the OSPF section. I can also use it, for example, with the AAA. And it looks quite long, but there is a shortcut which is called display CC OSPF, which is very short and is doing exactly the same. So this one I'm using almost every time, and it's very helpful to not go through the whole current configuration, just to have a section of the configuration. So the last command which I would like to show you today is the display hotkey command. You may have already used some of these hotkeys. If not, then I will show you one example. Let's enter a display command, which is wrong because I make a typo right in the beginning of the command. It should be display, but I just write down deep interface 10GE101 transceiver verbose, the one we have used before. It will not work because I made a typo. Now I can take the last command from the history and use the cursor to go to the front, which takes some time. Or I can use the hotkey. In this example, it's Ctrl A to jump to the beginning of the line, and then I can change my typo, and I'm much faster and more efficient if the command is long. And as you can see here on the top, there are a lot of pre-configured shortcuts already on each Huawei device, and you can even create more shortcuts or more hotkeys on the CLI. So that is it. These are my top 5 display commands I'm using almost every day or almost every time I'm on a Huawei device. I hope it was also helpful for you. Maybe you find some new comments. And yes, see you soon.